Summer really is one of my favourite times in the garden, and particularly in our cool climate. These lovely long days mean I get even more time out here, which is important because there's heaps to do. The first thing I want to get done is some pruning. Hey kiddo. Summer pruning fruit trees straight after they finish fruiting is a great way to control their growth. Now this is a Stella self-pollinating cherry. It's its 4th year in the ground. I'm hoping that next year we're going to get a bumper crop, but I want to reduce this overall height so that I can easily net it and reach the fruit. So the first thing you do when you prune anything is remove anything that is damaged or broken. And you can see the cockies have snapped the tip of this. Of course, prune always on an angle and just above a healthy bud. Now that I've removed that broken growth, I can really see the shape of the tree, and I want to start to focus on pruning for fruit production. You can see here on this older wood there are some nice fruiting spurs formed. That's where we'll get flowers and cherries, I hope, next year. So I'm going to prune a lot of this vegetative growth off and focus that energy on those fruiting spurs. But I also want to make sure that next year I've got a new crop of spurs forming, so I'll leave 2 or 3 buds on each of these whippy bits of growth to form flowers for the following year's fruit. You might have noticed that the leaves are also quite tatty, and that is because there's an infection of a sawfly larvae known as pear and cherry slug on the tree. They eat the leaves and can completely defoliate it. I thought I was on top of them, but it looks like I need to treat the tree again, which is really simple. It's just a dusting of wood ash over the leaves to literally dehydrate those larvae, and hopefully this tree will go into its winter dormancy happy and healthy and ready to produce next year. Of course, pests and diseases can be as prolific as produce in the summer garden, and this year in Tomato Alley I am facing a problem I've not really had to deal with in over 25 years of gardening. Now the first thing I noticed was the lower foliage. It started to discolour and die off in little patches. Now I suspect it is a fungus called target spot or early blight, which can affect both foliage and fruit. It can completely decimate the plant. But there are many problems that can affect tomatoes, and as always, prevention is better than cure. The first thing is to start with disease-free seed, because many of these problems can carry over from one generation to the next. And the second thing is crop rotation. It is so important with this plant family. Anything from tomatoes, capsicums, eggplants, even potatoes must not be planted into the same ground for at least 3 years. Plant your tomatoes with enough space to maintain good airflow. I think I might have gone a little bit close here. It's also important to remove affected foliage, but importantly, anything that is touching the ground, because that is like a bridge for an infection to move up into the plant. Good hygiene will also reduce transmission between plants. I disinfect my secateurs when I move from one to the next, just with a bit of metho. A fresh layer of mulch can also help to create a protective layer on that soil surface to stop the fungus infecting the plants. Despite me diligently doing all of these preventative things, I've still ended up with a problem. And really, there is only one other thing I can do now to ensure that 6 months' work carefully raising these tomatoes doesn't go completely to waste. Just mixing up some copper oxychloride powder and some water. I'm spraying this about every 10 days or 2 weeks. You need to be thorough and try and cover both the upper and undersides of the leaves to prevent the fungus infecting them. This copper is allowed in organic gardens, but overuse can have a negative impact on the soil biology and also on soil fertility, so I'm always really cautious. For me, it is a last resort. But in our cool climate here in central Victoria, these summer growing months are so important. It takes a lot of work to get a crop like this to fruition. So I'm hoping that if I stay on top of this fungus, I can still get a lovely crop of tomatoes. In the productive garden, you should always be thinking about planting. At this time of the year, I plant a lot of fast turnaround crops that I can harvest small, things like turnips and radish, constantly every couple of weeks. But I also sow coriander. Now, this is a crop that sort of divides the nation of eaters and gardeners, but I absolutely love it. Now, coriander is something that a lot of people struggle to grow well. It ends up rushing right through that leaf growth, which you want, and goes to seed. And that is because it does not like hot weather. So planting towards the end of summer, as it's about to cool down, is a great time to do it. And you can have a crop all the way through winter that you can pick from. Now, the seed are quite large, so you can make a kind of nice furrow and then just sprinkle them in place. Just watering them in really well. And then I'm going to use an old carrot grower's technique. Just pop a board on top, and that can keep them moist and protected for the next couple of weeks. When they're nearly ready to germinate, I'll take it off. And then I promise you, you will be having coriander in your curries right through the cooler months. Good girl. Give me the ball. Give it to me. You know, summer is such a beautiful time to be in the garden. There's so much to eat, do, and of course, there is so much to learn. Who doesn't love those long summer days? Come on, let's go for a walk.